we're back from executive session, and is there a motion to appoint new officers?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Brewer as chair and Munn as vice chair.
All right, is there a second?
A second.
All right, any other discussion? If not, Tyrone, would you call the roll, please?
Brent Cogburn,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Hollybush,
Yes.
Munn,
Yes.
Mills.
Yes.
The motion carries 6-0.
Now we have to play musical chairs.
Yes.
Now this is right, because we got girls on one side and boys on the other.
Hey, y'all did what you just done.
I'll help you any way I can. I'll let you bring them.
All right.
Wait on Meredith to go to the bathroom and move forward from this. Who's in the bathroom? She went to the restroom. I think we'll just go ahead and get started. So we have one person that went to the bathroom. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Next item we have is approval of the minutes.
I'm sorry, we got to back you up a little bit. We've got appointment of officers, then we have reappointment of commissioners.
Okay. All right, the next item on the list is reappointment of commissioners.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Brandon Cockburn, Les Munn, and Sandy Varner as commissioners.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Next item is A&P vacancies. And we're going to table the vacancies at this time. We're going to move down to commissioner. For the commissioner,
No action.
no
Yes,
action.
no
as
action on
well.
both of those.
And same as for the attorney, no action at this time. Well, anybody got a question?
Josh Potter has resigned, and I would make a motion that we accept that resignation.
Second.
All right, it's been motion and second. Are there any questions or any concerns? All right, there's no question or concerns. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, motion carries.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd like to make a motion that we put out a request for proposal for a new attorney for the commission.
I would agree with that, and I think Tyronda
Yes.
has drafted some, but I haven't seen those yet.
They're in your
Right here.
agenda packet.
I know that you were tweaking it, I just didn't.
Yes, so I have put an RFP in your agenda packet. It is right behind the resignation letter from Josh Potter.
Oh, I got you.
And on those, this is just a standard RFP that just basically gives the background on who was the general counsel for the A&P Commission before, the approach, the type of legal services they'll provide, and it's basically all general counsel service, provide legal research, advice, and opinions to the A&P Commission. It talks about conflict of interest. Because this is a RFP, we cannot ask for fees. We are just asking for proposals regarding qualifications. The fees will be negotiated after we accept an attorney, or the A&P Commission accepts an attorney. It tells everything that should be included in the proposal. Excuse me. The evaluation process, and then if they have any questions, they can submit those to me, and I will distribute those to the commission for answers. I did want to know when you all wanted to have those all received and when you planned on issuing it.
I would think 30 days.
Okay?
And this is the RFP that tracks what the city board
Yes,
issued in the past for city.
this is the exact same one the city board issued. I just tweaked it so that it would fit the A&P commission. So you would like all RFPs received by, my calendar out. So May 12th, which is a Friday,
That's a good day.
All right.
and you will plan on issuing the contract at the July meeting?
I think I don't see any reason to call a
Okay.
special meeting for that.
You can wait.
Okay,
May have to conduct an interview process somewhere in that time,
and if
or appoint some people to conduct an interview process.
yes,
Yeah.
and we can always do that. And we can set up an interview after we receive them. Once I receive them on the 12th, I'll get those turned over to you all. And we can also set up a process for doing the interview process, so maybe you can start the interviews. For an applicant on Monday, the 12th, which gives you a 30-day review process, if you want that long.
Sounds fair.
Okay. So I'll set it up so that the week of the 12th, I'll start getting everything back from you all so that we can set up interviews that week.
I could do. Is there any more questions or concerns in regards to the city attorney?
We do need to make a motion for that, correct, Tyrone?
Yes, a motion to submit the RFP.
Okay, I'll make a motion to submit an RFP for a new commission attorney.
Second.
All right, it's been a motion and second. Are there any questions or concerns? No questions, concerns, no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. All right, moving to the next item, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
All right, it's been motion and second to approve the minutes as read. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right. The motion carried. Next item we have on the list is 2023 funding request, State Parks Recreation Tourism Committee.
Good afternoon. On May 17th and 18th, the Arkansas State Parks Recreation and Tourism Commission will meet here in Texarkana. The entire point of this visit is to display Texarkana so that they know what we have to offer, so that they can send people to Texarkana for different events. We want to display our venues and our restaurants. So during this time, they have a meeting on the 17th. They will meet at the Texarkana Recreation Center.
Do we have to vote to hear this?
Yes. I should know those rules, shouldn't I?
Okay. I would make you're supposed to tell us.
Well, we
supposed
have to ask you the question, like we asked everybody else. Why is this outside our normal funding schedule?
We were just made aware of this meeting last month.
All right, I'll make a motion, we hear your proposal.
I'll second.
All right, it's been motion and second. Is there any unreadiness? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay.
All
right,
right.
Sorry I cut you off.
You don't have to
No,
start over.
it's okay. I appreciate that. I jumped right in and I just went
Thanks, guys.
for it.
Appreciate it.
Um,
Appreciate it.
But they will meet at the rec center here in Texas. They are staying at the convention center. They're going to hold their meetings at the rec center so that we have the opportunity to show them that venue that we have available. Our plan is to then take them on a walking tour of downtown. We apologize because we only have an hour to show them what we can. So we tried to get one area that had the most to show, and that was downtown. We are planning on if we can get a van to take them around the courthouse, go to the auto museum, the municipal auditorium, cross ties, the hideout, show them Front Street from the hideout, point out the mural at TLC, talk about everything we have there. Their reception will be at the Banana Club, and then they are to have dinner that night at Verona's. We have received quotes, which are included in your packet, from Verona's. They will do a 3-course dinner at $25 a person for 60 people. Even though the commission is 40, we would like to invite individuals within our city to be part of this event. That total quote is $1,500. They will have the social hour at the Banana Club. David Peavy is going to donate that space to us. The normal rental is $1,000, but he's going to donate that for us. But he will provide hors d'oeuvres for them to have that night at $12 a person, and that's going to be $720 total. And then we are putting together gift baskets for every commissioner so that they have a little piece of Texarkana to take home with them. And part of that is we will provide tumblers to each one of them. And that is a cost of $14 per tumbler. We're going to order 48 of those at $741. My total request is for $2,961. Are there any questions?
All right, we've heard the concern in a dollar amount. Is there a motion on the floor to accept?
I make a motion that we amend the budget and allocate $2,961 pursuant to her request.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, it's been a motion and second. Is there any questions or concerns? If there's no question or concerns, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, ayes, motion carried.
I do have one question, or typically on a late applicant, it is sent to our A&P attorney for review and approval, and those funds aren't submitted until then. But in that place, if Mr. Cogburn would give his blessing on this one, just so that we don't have any issues and we're following all our processes.
I think it qualifies. We've followed all the right rules to get it here. I'll tell you that part of my chair duties,
All right.
someone called me and told me this was going to happen, so this is one of the things that I then called Tyronda, and she got it together, and we
Okay.
added it to the agenda, so
Gotcha.
I think we're in good shape.
Good deal. All right, good deal. All right, moving on. If there's no other questions in regards to funding requests for the Parks and Recreation, we're going to move down to the reallocation of 2022 funds, Texarkana Parks and Recreation, Front Street Festival Plaza.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Commission members.
Afternoon.
So, if you recall, y'all allocated, it was 30,000, correct? For the bollards for the Front Street area. Our original intent was so that we were going to place these removable bollards in permanent sleeves, so that we could shut those roads down whenever we needed, for events or on the weekends at the nights. We did a trial run just by blocking off the Broad Street during Friday and Saturday nights. And Chief Krim has been thoroughly involved with the businesses along Broad Street and in the downtown area. He set up a few different meetings with all of the business owners, and he received a lot of feedback from that, and he can speak more on that if y'all would like. But it was quite negative. They didn't like the blocking the streets. It took away their parking. And our original intent was for safety of the citizens with all the traffic that was downtown and all the foot traffic that we're having. So with the businesses in mind downtown, we don't want to hurt them. We want to accommodate them as much as we can while keeping our citizens safe. So there was a recommendation that we install speed bumps instead. So Chief Cram presented that during these meetings to all the business owners downtown, and there seemed to be a great response to that. So I did get quotes. Right now, this would be putting two sections of speed bumps in each block from the 100, 200, 300, and 400 blocks of Broad Street. So the last block would be here behind us that had speed bumps. Those speed bumps would go all the way across the road, block all 3 lanes so that they're not able to just go around. And also 2 blocks here on 3rd Street, 1 block in front of Ice House and Zapata's there, and the other between the bank and the Omega building. That's our plan to start with, if y'all approve that. But these speed bumps that you see in the handout I gave you, the quote for 36 of these 10-foot speed bumps is $9,631.18. These speed bumps will drastically reduce the speed of cars coming through there. It'll knock them down to 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're doing 2 sections of those speed bumps per block. If we just did 1 section in the middle, they could still gain speed pretty quickly. So we're doing 2 sections there, so it'll space them out about every 100 foot or so. I think that will, it's my professional opinion as well as Chief Cram's, that will drastically reduce their speed and increase the safety for all of our foot traffic down there overall. Y'all have any questions for me?
Actually, I have about 12.
All right, shoot. What you got?
Okay, when this was proposed, of course, I'm gonna go down to the bottom of my sheet.
Mhm.
This Front Street Festival Plaza project
Yes,
it
ma'am.
has changed. It is like an amoeba. The thing is ever changing, and there does not seem to be any kind of a cohesive plan other than a Google map drawing with some writings on it.
As far as the speed bump?
That disturbs me, the fact that we're spending $500,000 down here, and this is what we've got drawn out. That's what we've gotten. And if there's something different in a packet that you all have seen,
You mean, are you talking about a drawing for the speed bumps, or are you talking about the whole
this
plan
whole thing,
for the
for this
plaza?
whole thing, and it's constantly changing. And that bothers me. That we don't have any kind of, we're gonna do this, and then, well, oh, no, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna do this. Well, and then I have some questions about the speed bumps. I think, as a police officer, Les, at one time, we talked about the bollards being something that would, I think at the time, somebody ran through a crowd somewhere where there was an event going on. Had there been bollards there, the car wouldn't have gotten past. I think it was a van. And that was what the thoughts were on those removable bollards, was that it would provide safety for the people when the streets were blocked off. I don't think it was ever the intention to block them off every single Friday and Saturday night. I complained. I tried to come downtown and go to one of my favorite restaurants, and I'm not gonna walk 2 blocks in a pair of heels to go eat somewhere, so we just didn't go. So, and there's not an event going on, there were, not that many people downtown, so I don't know why it was blocked off on just a regular weekend. So,
Can I speak real quick on the bollards, if you don't mind? Okay, so the bollards will block access for traffic means. But the intent of the bollards, and I apologize if this wasn't made clear, which it wasn't, but the intent of the bollards was to solely block access. The bollards are not meant to stop a vehicle. You can get bollards to stop a vehicle, say they're going 30 miles an hour, stop them in their tracks, but you're looking at about $200,000 in order to purchase those bollards, as opposed to the $30,000 that we were originally talking about. When you install bollards to actually physically stop a vehicle, it is way more involved. You're talking about burying those things 3 foot deep in a very large footing, and
I don't
each,
think that's what she meant. I think she meant that
Okay,
they were
sorry.
just designed to, when she said stop traffic, she didn't mean like Homeland Security builds something to stop somebody from, driving through. I think she meant, hey, there's something in the road here, not gonna drive through it.
okay, yes,
Okay,
I'm sorry, yes,
yeah,
that
and-
was the intent, yes.
Okay, so,
Okay, go ahead.
some of these, you've answered some of my questions.
Mhm.
So,
Okay,
I'll have to look to see, you answered the question about, are they going curb to curb? They're going all the way across the street,
It-
gutter to gutter.
no, ma'am, not quite, because you've got parking spaces
Right,
there
that's
too.
my other thing, you're gonna mess parking up.
We will not go into the parking, so they will only be in the traveling lanes, but we will place them in the middle turn-in lane as well, so that they're not just able to go around them, because they certainly will if you leave that
That's
open.
what's gonna happen.
Yes, but it does go all the way from parking space to parking space.
You know that that's gonna slow down emergency response vehicles.
Yes, and we have, and Chief Cram is in support of these speed bumps. We have also talked with Chief Fletcher, and he's not concerned about the response time, the effect that these speed bumps would have on response time.
Okay, and these are permanent? I mean, the ones.
Yes, I mean,
They're,
yes, in a sense, they can be removed, but yes, they would be staked permanently.
okay, have you thought about the impact that might have on parades, floats, marching bands?
Yeah, I mean, it's
gonna be, especially if you're doing two, it's gonna be a constant.
yeah, every 100 foot virtually. At intersections, it would be 200 foot because you've got the stop sign. But yes, and these speed bumps, as you can see, they've got the high intensity yellow into those, so they're highly visible. But yes, I do understand that for marching bands or whatever might be in a parade, that would be an additional tripping hazard potentially. I think you have to weigh your options there, and we felt like that the speed bumps were a meeting point for us all. For the business owners, they did not want those streets blocked permanently. Just like you said, the parking is a big deal downtown, and we don't want to hurt our businesses downtown. So, but we have to find a way to make it safer for our foot traffic
Are cars
downtown.
going that fast from stop sign to
Oh,
stop sign?
yes, ma'am. Extremely fast. I was down here eating.
I tried to accelerate in between stop signs, and I couldn't get up but to about 25 until I had to start braking.
You get some pretty ridiculous drivers down there. I've witnessed it firsthand. My wife and I came down to eat at Verona's one night. I mean, you've got a souped-up race car that turns from, I believe that was Olive Street, left there in front of Verona's. They're fishtailing around that curve and peeling out the whole way down the road, and I guarantee you, they reached 50 miles an hour before they got to that other stop sign. I mean, it's insane.
Is there not a police presence that can write tickets and write enough tickets that people know we don't do that downtown?
I'm not going to try to speak for Chief Cram, but
I mean, I know there's crime and police officers are stretched thin, but there's places that I go in town that I know I better not speed or I'm gonna get a ticket.
absolutely. Chief, you want to help me out on that one?
And the other thing I'm questioning is what authority does A&P have on putting speed bumps down anyway?
Okay, so
Except
I
that
could,
you're asking us to pay for it.
That would be my authority as the Public Works
Yeah.
so let me, since she brought that up, let me speak to that point real quick, because the statute, and it's, 2675, 606. Well, it's at the end, too. I could be more specific, but there's lots of A's and B's and whatevers. Anyway, it says the taxes shall not be used And then 2A is for general capital improvements within the city. So, for example, A&P can't pave a street, right? I think we should all agree about that. We can't pay for paving the street because that's a capital improvement within the city. And now you're wanting to fix something that you said was permanent to the street, and I'm not sure that qualifies.
I guess it was,
I think if
I
the
don't
city,
see how that's much different than the bollards.
so the bollards come up. You only put those out, and you put those out so people can't go down there, and you put them out on whenever, Friday night for your event that you're having, and they come up Saturday morning or whenever. And this is something that's in the asphalt, attached to the asphalt. And it's not something that's made to come up and down and move it. It's something that is
That's right.
affixed to it. So it's a fixture, even though it can be, moved if you really, really wanted to. And my other point would be, before we go, in my opinion, if the city wants to put speed bumps on a city street, the city should pay for it. Along those same lines, well, what's going to happen when somebody on, I'll use my road, Sanderson, wants a speed bump? And they're going to come down here and want A&P to pay for it because we just paid for some on Broad. I think you're getting dangerously, I think you're there if you're not dangerously close to a general capital improvement.
I think that would be quite a bit different. I mean, we're talking about the overall, the Front Street Festival Plaza here. We're doing this in order to promote downtown. We're just like the stage, the bathrooms, everything. It's all part of this greater plan. That's what we're aiming for. We're looking to boost this area downtown and bring tourists downtown, bring more citizens downtown. And with that comes safety issues with the increased foot traffic, with that entertainment district and the events and everything. We've got to have some safety measures in place to protect them.
And if you want safety measures, and if you want, in my opinion, if you want those things, that's a city expense, not an A&P expense.
And the bollards were the same exact thing. The bollards were there for the safety of our citizens, for the safety of.
But they're different. I mean, they're different. They are different.
The basis behind them is exactly the same, as far as I was concerned.
Well, in one, you're trying to keep traffic out, and in the other, you're trying to slow it down. You're still letting them go through there, so they're not the same. But-
And
But-
it's there for safety. I mean, the purpose, and I understand what you're saying, and if you want the city to pay for it, I don't understand how not wanting to pay for speed bumps is any different than paying for bollards, because bollards are going to be incredibly more expensive. And they're not something that lends itself to daily safety measures in that district. The whole idea about that district is bringing in more foot traffic, bringing in more retail customer traffic to bring tax dollars into the city. You have to create a safe environment for that. When you've got people doing burnouts that are a block long because there is alcohol consumption in there. And yes, we can have police officers in there, we do. But we respond after that fact. Somebody that's idiotic enough to light their tires up, the length of a block full of people walking on the sidewalks isn't going to pay attention to whether there's a marked unit down there until he gets down there. And it's too late then if he runs over somebody or loses control and goes up into establishment. That's the whole purpose of this. When we started putting up, and you are absolutely right, I haven't seen a big, broad, detailed plan for this. And we have been reactive in my short tenure here to how we go about creating this entertainment district. And how do we make it safe? Then how do we not make it so safe that the jackbooted Gestapo thugs of police are making it impenetrable to the citizens to get down here and spend their tax dollars? And it becomes unattractive. So we held 2 meetings with all of the entertainment district businesses. And I met with those owners and I asked them for input. They hate barricades, and most of them are against bollards. Although they do understand the need if we start having concerts with thousands of people downtown and we don't have big enough sidewalks to hold those people. But that's not the norm. That's not what we're going to have every weekend. And we want on the weekends to get as much foot traffic and safe vehicle traffic in there as we can, because the whole purpose of it is to bring in tax dollars. The city needs the funds. And if the position of this commission is that the city should pay for that, I'm going to start yanking her chain, and we're going to try to find a way to do it. As the police chief, the only concern I have when you say speed bumps is firefighters hate them. So the very first call I made when that suggestion was made was to Chief Fletcher. And he said, "You mean the place that's right around the corner from the fire station?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Speed bumps aren't going to delay our response by more than a second or two. And they're not the angry speed bumps that we're going to break the axles on a pumper truck with." So he has no problem with it. We want it to be safe, and we're committed to doing that however that happens. We overreacted at first by shutting everything down. It had a negative impact on the businesses, which is exactly the opposite of the whole purpose of this entertainment district, is to bring in more business, not less, and they were losing money hand over fist. So the whole purpose of this is to find a way to make it safe. If it's not the wish of this commission that the AMP funds be used for it, so be it. I understand that entirely. And I understand your reticence for any change that's been made, because I've seen a few changes made to this plan just in my short tenure here. And we're working on consolidating that. That's a daily activity. But there's no love lost or anything like that if you guys want the city to pay for this instead of AMP funds. I completely understand that. Now, to address your comparative analysis to somebody on Sanderson wanting a speed bump, this is strictly to enhance safety for pedestrian traffic.
People
And
walk on my street. Just saying.
if they're walking on Sanderson with those bar ditches on each side, they're already accepting a measure of risk. And you would,
North of the interstate, north of Sugar Hill.
okay, that's a better end. You'd be hard pressed to find the firefighters in favor of that. In my past life, the only place we put speed bumps is in subdivisions, residential areas, and the way we did it there, and I don't know how they do it here, truthfully, because we don't have speed bumps all over the place.
We don't do it.
But we made the homeowners associations absorb the cost of them, and over 50% of the homeowners had to sign a petition requesting them. So it had to be the will of the people, and then they had to pay to put them in. Speed bumps have a very specific use. They're made to reduce top-end speed. You can only advance top-end speed so much. I've been an accident reconstructionist, Les has too. I've seen lots of dead bodies due to cars. When you have people drinking a lot, which is going to happen in an entertainment district, they're going to cross the street without looking. They're a lot more likely to die if there's an idiot behind the wheel going over 30 miles an hour. And the whole purpose of this is to just slow that down. So I've kind of rambled on, but I know you had questions about why speed bumps. And I was really entertained by, I have about 12 questions. I was hoping to hear them all. So
Some of them you've answered. My thought was, where are the scooters gonna go if they can't ride down the street?
the scooters haven't paid us any tax money yet, as far as I know, so we really don't care.
What are the other ones? There seems to be, I mean, is there, as people decelerate and accelerate, is there not these cars with loud mufflers then? Is there increased noise to the merchants that are down there?
Absolutely, to a degree, just like you would have at a stop sign or an intersection.
Right.
Yeah, there will be a little bit of that, but that's going to be a trade-off for pedestrian safety.
Right. Are we afraid traffic will then divert off of these streets, and instead of going down Broad Street, are they just gonna, I'm not gonna go down that street because I have to stop too many times? So I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna come down Third instead of Broad.
Well, that will be the fact for some. What it will not deter is the people who are coming here to stop and eat at at the locations or to go in and frequent these commercial establishments.
Right.
So one of the things that Tyler and I discussed with more establishments that are walkable on Third Street is include speed bumps on a couple of blocks of Third Street too. So if you're not planning on coming into the downtown district to stay, to spend some time and some dollars, we don't necessarily need you driving through it either. And so that's not a trade-off that brings fear to me at all. If there's less of an audience for people, especially younger folks with a heavy foot, they're less likely to behave with idiocy in their minds. And if they have to go 2 blocks off into a more residential area, they're less likely to try to show out. There's no audience for them there.
Mr. Marner, if you don't
That's
mind.
all your questions?
I wanted to address your point about it seeming like this has changed quite a bit, and I agree with you 100%. There's been several different people involved with this, changes being made. I'm not a fan of it either. Our previous city manager was running that show, and he'd kind of give me a project to do, give Adam a project to do, give police a project to do. I would like to change that, and I would love to be able to draw up a map with our exact plan, everything that's going to happen down here right now and in the future. If my boss, city manager, if she is okay with that, I would like to take all of this under my control, and come up with exactly what our plan is, put it all on paper, put it on a map, distribute it to all of you, and I will personally organize everything that's happening down here between the different projects with start dates, completion dates, all the above. With permission of Tyranda, I would love to be able to do that, and I would love to, and we can, me and Tyranda, Chief Cram, and Adam, we can all get together and.
Monthly meetings set up already for us.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
and-
you're bringing up city manager. Is this something that we need to wait till we get a new city manager?
I don't think so. We've got an interim city manager here right now. When somebody else new comes in, it's not going to be him or her taking that over. I'm going to maintain control of that. You know, I'll fill them in on what's going on, and I'll keep on rolling like we were before.
I think that's a good idea, and I told Tyranda, I don't know, Monday,
And that was the same
That-
conversation that you and I had, that even this project really can't wait until a city manager is hired, because those that are working this project now will still be the same ones continuing with that project. So with this one, I rely on Tyler and Adam to really give the information that is needed, because they have been heavily involved, everything from the plans to the construction moving forward. And so I rely and trust Tyler's information that he is willing to provide.
And it's
on
been,
this.
it's
the other
been
thing that I-
frustrating for us as well, because you've got different people in control of different projects going on down there, and none of us know what the other was doing, because it wasn't one big meeting that we were all having.
yeah, and
So that was
that's
frustrating.
been
for us.
obvious throughout the presentations for this project, because, well, I'll just end it with, it was obvious,
Yeah.
that
I understand.
there were lots of different things going on everywhere, and there was really no one person in charge.
Yes.
And one of the things I talked to Tyrone about is, along the lines of one person being in charge, was that, if that person were going to be a city manager, then we need to wait till we get a new city manager before anything else goes on down there, because somebody's got to be in charge, and the city manager is the person in charge. Now, that if he or she delegates to somebody, that's fine, but just somebody's got to be in charge of what's going on.
Yes.
And I've never liked the fact that the only plan that was ever presented was a Google map with some ink pen drawing on it.
Yeah.
Now, I've since gone down there and see some stakes in the ground that I think is going to be a concrete slab, but I'm not even sure about that. The white stakes,
Bathrooms are
Yeah.
Yes, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not fully aware of what that is because I haven't been involved in that portion.
Okay, well,
But
there's some
I will-
stakes down there and with some white ribbons on them, and they say
They,
southwest corner, northwest corner,
oh, yeah,
northeast,
yeah, so
southeast
that
corner.
would be the concrete
And
pad.
for the concrete pad, and then there's some other ones down there. There's a blue one, which I think designates the water, and then there's some orange ones that I don't know what, I couldn't read. I could read it, I couldn't make out
There's-
the code that was on the stake.
There was probably, well, I know that there was a locate called in, so orange is typically fiber, so they may have just been locating a fiber line. But,
There's a wooden stake with orange ribbon, and there's writing on the stakes.
I'm not sure. I would have to look into that. But from now on, since Tyronda's given me permission, I'm gonna take control of this. All right?
Well,
I'm gonna
Ty-
handle everything from now on. Anything that comes before y'all, it'll be me. It won't be anybody else. I'll bring everything before y'all, give y'all updates, whatever you may need. And I will produce a plan. Won't be ink pen on a Google map. I'll produce a nice plan for y'all, so y'all know exactly what the plan is and where we're going. I'll be y'all's point of contact for anything happening for the Front Street Festival.
Well, Tyler, I think that's a good idea. At this point, I don't think we can afford to just wait. We do have the infrastructure in place and to continue this, because at this point, we do have to continue to strategize and organize, to keep the mobilization going of what's already been in place. And, but I will say this right here, is there any more questions for Tyler?
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
So if we went this route and did speed bumps instead of the bollards, there's about $20,000 extra dollars. Would you have a plan for that would be able to be spent down there to improve safety in other ways?
I could get with Chief Cram and we could possibly come up with something. I don't have anything off the top of my head. We haven't discussed spending any more funds. We've been concentrating on these speed bumps for now. But I can get with Chief and we could think of some possible additional safety measures, yes.
Because there might be some things that would be more justifiable. I mean, I understand, when the bollards were approved, that was deemed an appropriate expense, and I don't think speed bumps are much different from that. But if there's other things like lighting that would be more justifiable, that would increase the safety downtown, I'd like to make sure that, that money still gets spent for that purpose.
I understand. Yeah, we will certainly get together and discuss some additional options.
All right, well, everyone, we've heard the safety concerns. Got a question?
If I could, if that's what you want us to do, Stephen, is look at some other way to allocate the funding that you all have approved so far, if it's not for speed bumps or bollards or leftover after speed bumps. I can meet with all of those business owners again and ask them for some feedback and some suggestion on it, since they're kind of what's gonna draw people to the district, and see what kind of ideas they come up with. And then, of course, Tyler will be at those meetings with us, and we can bring something back to you after that.
Keeping in mind what is within the statute that we can spend money on.
And
I haven't done it yet, I'll have to do that, so.
And I'll be involved in those meetings as
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
And so I've got all of that knowledge on the use of funds, so I'll make sure that I'm involved in that process.
So are we able
So
to
to
do
make-
that with AMP money on the speed bumps? Brandon, did you say we could do that?
That's what I want to make clear, so it's no action, we're not doing any
The
action.
statute says taxes shall not be used for general capital improvements within the city or county.
Or can it be because it's in the entertainment district that it's?
It's a safety mechanism, not a capital improvement, is one way you could justify that.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call this a capital improvement.
Would the entertainment district be classified as a park?
I don't think it's I don't think it's, I don't
Well,
think the
because we
entertainment
have
district.
10,000 parks. And sometimes things like this are considered in that category. And I was wondering, because of that, you would be able to use those funds, AMP taxes, for capital improvements in parks.
I could be wrong, but I do believe the board has to designate.
Designate it as a park?
As a park, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't think.
It's currently not.
Well, they kind of operate it like it's a park because they do trash, they do.
Yes,
Yeah, Parks handles all the maintenance of all of it. They pick up all the trash and, well, Streets Department does sweep the streets, but Parks overall handles all the maintenance.
Is there a timeline on when you think that this absolutely needs to be done by, if this is the direction we go on the speed bumps?
I don't think that there's necessarily a time that it has to be done, completed by. I would say just as soon as possible because we're having safety issues right now. So we need to do something to address those safety issues just as soon as possible.
I mean, is there not $9,000 in the
Yes.
Street department?
Yes, there is $9,000 in the street department, but you're looking at taking it away from our streets that are in awful shape, our drainage system that's in awful shape. So, yes, but potentially I could pull that from the streets department, but you're looking at taking away from other major needs in order to do that.
I do have one question. Under Section A of the statute, Part 3, it says operation of tourist promotion facilities in the city or county where the city is located if the city owns an interest in the convention center or the facility and facilities necessary for supporting or otherwise pertaining to
a convention center?
a convention center or a tourist promotion facility
Which the street would qualify as that?
as because it would be part of the facilities.
For a tourist promotion facility, it says.
Operation of- But it starts out with operation of a tourist promotion facility.
I mean, I don't want to argue with
Oh,
you
no
about,
problem.
about the legal stuff. You and I have been through that before. In my opinion, it doesn't qualify, but the fact that when you said that it takes money away from all those others, from city streets, again, just tells me that's a capital improvement within the city, and because you're replacing that
And
money
what means do you-
with other things that with, if the money, like if the city paid for the $9,000 and you're saying that takes away from other city street needs, then that to me says that this is a city street need.
No, I wouldn't say that is a city street need. Our streets that are littered with potholes and base failures are a city street need. That's a capital improvement. These speed bumps are solely a safety measure. It's a need for the protection of our foot traffic, which is caused by the entertainment district and all the promotion we put into downtown. Those city street needs are our roads that are falling to pieces.
I'm only one vote, but it's going to be a no for me.
Are there any more questions or concerns? All right, is there a motion on the floor? All right, there's no motion on the floor. So if there's no motion on the floor, the discussion the vote won't happen. All right. Moving on to the next business. Next item of business is delinquent A&P taxes.
So,
It's got your name beside it.
yes, so we have submitted the delinquent A&P tax, and we have been working additionally outside of the letters that were sent by the attorney. We also have been sending letters internally to try to set up payment plans with anyone that is delinquent on A&P taxes. So far, we haven't had anyone set those up, but Comfort Suites is now current on their A&P taxes. But we have been working with those agencies those entities to try to get them caught up on their taxes.
I saw where there was some payments on some.
Yes. And I can tell you Mallory is doing an excellent job on working with them when they submit payments and don't submit documentation to make sure that we have all the adequate documentation and building those relationships. And I can tell you, we've had a little bit of a turnover in that position, but having some stability in that position and her ability to build relationships with those people, that is really important. So we're hoping she sticks around for a while so we can continue to build those relationships and help get some of those taxes collected, but she's working really hard to get that done.
All right, are there any questions in regards to delinquent A&P taxes? Any questions or concerns? All right, is there any other business out there, any other unreadiness that need to be discussed at this time?
There's just one other thing that the sales agency sent to me, and it is kind of towards the end of your packet, right before the current A&P list. And that is an email that Drew sent. It's about, they've completed all the video and production things that we asked them to do about the parks. And then these push cards that I asked Tarana to put out before each one of us, those are new, that are going to be going out to the welcome centers across the state. It has a QR code on the back where you can scan that code and then it goes to a website, which is much easier to update than, once you print something, it's printed, you can't change it. So they added that, and then you can just read the rest of the things there. But I wanted to make sure that everybody knew what they've been doing for the last 3 months.
All right.
I think they were fine.
And that's a lot better to send out than the visitor guides, because as there's changes, the visitor guides just has the same information.
All right, if there's no other business to be discussed, is there a motion on the floor for adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's been motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.